Signs your emotional intelligence is lower than you think, with women. Williams thought he was a good listener, patient, never shouted, remembered birthdays, helped around the house more than most men he knew. By every measure the culture had given him, he was doing fine. And then one evening, his partner Sarah said something that stopped him completely. "I feel like I'm always talking to a wall, like you hear the words, but you're never actually in it with me." Williams had been in the room. He had not interrupted, or thought he had not. He had offered solutions when she was upset. He had done the things he understood as the right things. What he had not understood was that emotional intelligence is not about intention. It is about impact. And the gap between his intention and her experience was wider than anything he had known how to see.
This video is a map of that gap, not for the men who are obviously failing, for the men like Williams, the good men, the ones trying and still somehow missing. If any part of his story feels familiar, this video is for you.
What emotional intelligence actually means. Dr. John Mayer at the University of New Hampshire, one of the original researchers who formally defined emotional intelligence, describes it as the capacity to perceive, use, understand, and manage emotions accurately, in yourself and in others. With women specifically, this means reading the emotional reality of a moment, not the surface content, but what is underneath it, and responding to what she actually needs rather than what you think she should need. The 7 signs that follow are specific, identifiable patterns. Each has a story. Each has a research foundation. The discomfort of recognition is the point, because recognition is where change begins. Sign 1. You interrupt to help and don't know you're doing it. James considered himself an engaged conversationalist, leaned forward, asked questions, genuinely interested. And yet Claire had told him more than once that she felt talked over, that she could rarely finish a thought before he was already building on it. James disagreed. He was not interrupting, he was engaging. Research published in Language and Society identified a pattern called competitive overlap, interjections that redirect conversation rather than support it. Unlike affirmative responses that signal listening, competitive overlaps communicate that the listener's idea is more pressing than the speaker's experience, even well-intentioned ones. The self-check. In your last significant conversation with your partner, how many times did you finish her sentence, redirect the topic, or begin responding before she had clearly finished? If you cannot answer with confidence, that is the sign. Sign 2. You solve when she needs to be heard. David came home to find his partner Maya upset about a conflict with her manager. He listened for approximately 90 seconds. Then he told her exactly what she should do, the email to send, the meeting to request, the framing to use. Efficient, helpful, completely missing the point. Maya did not need the problem solved. She needed David to understand why it had hurt. Dr. John Gottman's research found that the impulse to problem solve during emotional disclosure is one of the most common and most damaging patterns in male-female communication. Women feel dismissed when solutions arrive before acknowledgement. Men feel confused. They were trying to help. The self-check. When she brings you something bothering her, what is your first move? If it is toward the solution, before you have said anything that tells her you understood how it felt, that is the sign. Sign 3. Her crying makes you want to fix or leave. When Elena cried, her partner Tom did one of 2 things. He either tried to stop it, reassurances, solutions, reasons things were not as bad as they seemed, or he went quiet in a way that was not stillness, but distance. A subtle withdrawal that Elenina had learned to read as, "Your pain is too much for me." Neither response was what she needed. She needed Tom to stay, not fix, not manage, just be present with her, inside it. Research by Dr. James Gross at Stanford found that partners who experienced their significant other's distress as threatening, responding with withdrawal or suppression, produced significantly worse outcomes for both partners than those who responded with presence. The self-check. When she cries, what happens in you first?
The urge to stop it, or the urge to be with her in it? If it is the former, that is the sign.
Sign 4. You know you're right, and you need her to know it too. Nathan and Zoe argued rarely. When they did, Nathan won. Not because he was louder, because he was more logical. He identified flaws in her position and guided the conversation toward the correct conclusion, which was consistently the one he had started with.
He was right, often, and Zoe had stopped arguing. Not because she had conceded, because she had concluded that being right was more important to Nathan than she was. Dr. Gottman's research identifies defensiveness as one of the 4 horsemen of relationship breakdown, driven by the prioritization of being correct over being connected.
The emotionally intelligent response to conflict is not the one that wins. It is the one that maintains the felt sense of partnership even in disagreement. The self-check. In your last argument, what was your primary goal? To be understood or to be correct? If there is hesitation, that is the sign. Sign 5. You miss the moment within the moment. Sophie mentioned on a Tuesday evening while doing the dishes that she had been feeling invisible lately. Her partner, Chris, nodded, said, "Yeah," asked what was for dinner. Sophie did not bring it up again. Gottman's concept of the bid for connection describes exactly this, the small, often indirect reach one partner makes toward the other. Sophie's comment was not a complaint. It was a bid, a vulnerable, briefly offered signal that she needed to be seen.
Chris missed it. Not because he was cruel, because his emotional intelligence was not calibrated to the frequency on which she was transmitting. Research on bid recognition in couples found that partners in deteriorating relationships missed bids not because they did not care, but because they were not trained to see them.
The self-check. In the last week, has your partner said something in passing that you responded to minimally, that in retrospect may have been reaching for more than the surface words? If yes, that is the sign.
Sign 6. You take her mood as a verdict on you. When Rachel came home quiet, her partner Ben immediately wanted to know what he had done. Not out of concern for her, out of anxiety about himself. The moment her mood shifted, his attention moved from her experience to his own, cataloging recent behavior, identifying potential offenses, bracing.
The result was that Rachel could not have a bad day without it becoming, in the emotional architecture of the relationship, about Ben. She had learned to perform fine because the alternative was too exhausting.
Dr. Sue Johnson describes this as anxious attachment activated by partner distress, the inability to remain a stable, curious presence when a partner is struggling because their difficulty has been unconsciously filed as a threat to the self.
The self-check. When she is in a low mood, is your first internal question, "What did I do?" rather than "What does she need?" If yes, that is the sign.
Sign 7. You know what she needs better than she does. Michael had been with his partner for 4 years and believed he knew her well. When she said she wanted to quit her job and do something different, he told her she was being impulsive.
When she said she needed more time alone, he told her she would feel better if they spent the evening together. When something was bothering her, he told her it was not as bad as she thought.
He was not malicious. He genuinely believed he had useful perspective. What he had not considered was that consistently knowing better than her, positioning his read of her experience above her own, was one of the most profoundly invalidating things a partner can do.
Research on psychological validation by Dr. Marcia Linehan at the University of Washington found that invalidation of emotional experience, even unintentional, is one of the most reliable predictors of relationship dissatisfaction over time.
The self-check. How often do you find yourself explaining her feelings back to her or telling her what she actually means? If it is a pattern, that is the sign. What to do with the recognition? If you recognized yourself in any of those 7, that recognition is not a verdict. It is a starting point. Emotional intelligence is not fixed. Research by Dr. Mark Brackett at the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence found it is significantly trainable. that sustained practice in emotional perception and response produces measurable improvement across all 4 dimensions of EQ. The practice begins with one thing: slowing the gap between stimulus and response. Most of the 7 signs operate in the space between her emotional moment and your reaction to it. The interruption happens before you registered what she was building toward. The solution arrives before you asked what she needed. The personalization happens before you turned curiosity toward her experience. The emotionally intelligent man has learned, through practice, not talent, to pause in that space, to ask, what is actually happening here? What does she need from me right now? What is she feeling that I have not yet named? Dr. Daniel Siegel's concept of the window of tolerance describes what happens when a man practices this pause consistently. The window widens, reactive patterns slow, attunement that once required conscious effort becomes more natural. Williams did not become emotionally intelligent overnight. He practiced. He got it wrong regularly. He apologized specifically, rather than generally. He asked Sarah what she needed, instead of assuming he knew. 18 months after the conversation where she told him he was talking to a wall, she said something different. I feel like you actually see me now, like you're in it with me. He had not changed who he was. He had changed where his attention went and how long he was willing to stay with her experience before moving to his own. That is the whole practice. Let us wrap it here. 7 signs. The interruption, the solution before the feeling, the discomfort with her tears, the need to be right, the missed bid, the personalized mood, the certainty that you know her better than she does. None of these make you a bad man. They make you a man operating with emotional intelligence tools that were never properly developed, in a culture that rarely assigned that development, in relationships that rarely named the gap clearly enough to address it.
You have the map now. Use it starting with the sign that landed most uncomfortably, the one you felt in your chest rather than your head. One sign, one change, consistently.
The woman in your life is not asking you to be a therapist. She is asking for the specific, daily experience of feeling that you are genuinely in it with her. That when she speaks, you are actually listening. That when she hurts, you move toward rather than away. That when she reaches, she finds you there. That is what emotional intelligence looks like in practice. Not a score, not a polished vocabulary. A man who has learned to slow down enough to see the person in front of him, really see her, and stay. Williams learned. You can too. Subscribe. Share this with a man who is trying and still missing. And tell us in the comments, which of the 7 landed hardest? The Better Man Project. We will see you in the next one.